a typical UN committee. You're not looking to pass through your resolution with 51% of the vote, just getting it by all of your opposition. This is a real chance for negotiation between two sides which both have strong ideology and a strong desire to have security and a sense of belonging in the place where they desire to reside. As territories occupied by war, they are not part of Israel, and the Israeli government does not, as such, have right to colonize these areas by setting citizens in them.
These settlements should be removed completely from the West Bank. We did win these settlements from the 1967 war, and they are our land.
The settlements they won in that war just are not legal. A legal war cannot somehow form legal settlements.
It is easiest to first discuss the territory and find out actual borders, and then we can take out whatever settlements overspill across borders.
And the rest of it, why should that be owned, overseen by peacekeepers?
There is no way the rest of Jerusalem is staying with Israel.
How does the presence of Israeli settlements at all impede your path to independence?
Those territories are occupied by Israel. They're not part of the state of Israel. So you can't legally put settlements there.
If the Israeli citizens become Palestinian citizens, they will be able to keep their land that they own currently.
Israel has military bases all along the Jordan River. In addition, you have settlements, but those military bases that are sparse out there are, of course, to protect those settlements and to control the whole West Bank. Okay, so the question of pulling out a settlement is I would say, astronomically large question.
One of the reasons we have the blockade on Gaza is because of Hamas, because they're a terrorist organization, and because they are actually potentially dangerous towards their citizens.
Gaza is in dire need of help and is economically crippled, and with proper security and IDF checks, I think that would prevent Hamas from traveling to the West Bank.
For every one Israeli that dies, 5 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip die.
The only reason why Hamas is still alive is because they still have a purpose. And the purpose is to get an independent country. But if we take that purpose away and Palestine becomes an independent country, I believe that Hamas will not have any purpose left and they'll go away.
Delegates, committee session is about to start. So today we're going to start back with the topics we were thinking about, right of return, and we also are interested in looking back towards Jerusalem and borders.
What point of motion do you rise? Motion for a 10-minute moderated caucus, 1-minute speaking time on the topic of Palestinian right of return. Israel is not only a safe haven for Jews, but it's also a place for Palestinians to live, and it's their home too.
Because the Israeli military illegally seized it when Israel was formed.
It needs to be clarified what Palestinian right of return actually means. Many of you think it means that all Palestinians are allowed to live in Israel. That's not what it means. It means Palestinians who are refugees and who had their property taken away from them at some war. It's not just every single person of Palestinian descent. It's people who used to live in that area.
Now, on the topic of background checks, we'll search what we can, and if not, there are other ways to determine if somebody is a potential terrorist. Like, for example, psychological evaluations. Thank you.
You want to put every single Palestinian refugee through psychological evaluation? That seems like a lot of unnecessary work.
Existing settlers must pay full compensation for any Palestinians that were displaced because of their settlement.
The combined per capita GDP of all Israeli refugees who have moved to Palestine and want to come back is 81% of all of Israel's annual GDP. This leaves barely enough money to set up an adequate refugee handling program and make sure that these refugees end up in the right place.
We're now already 7 minutes. Israel shouldn't have to provide any compensation.
they can just become It is not the Palestinian refugees who should be allowed back into Israel because they are, by definition, stateless. But it is the Israeli refugees displaced during the wars who had state, who had citizenship in our safe haven of Israel, who should be granted a right of return.
Not letting in other people just because they don't practice a certain faith is not right. It is, in fact, discriminatory.
Jewish people were basically being discriminated against because of their religion. And this is just a place for people who are Jewish to be safe.
These settlements are, by international law, considered illegal and over the green line. Why can you say legitimately that what we're doing is wrong when what you're proposing to do the same thing and saying that it is not wrong?
So if whatever you guys agree or is going to perpetuate that situation, then there's no reason for the state of Israel to agree to that, because they need security. And if they're not going to get security out of this, why would they give you anything at all?
Taking down the blockade will only make Hamas more capable of attacking Israel.
Then when can we choose when to lift the blockade? When can we choose to help the starving, helpless people of Gaza?
I believe that we should personally give these resources to the people so that Hamas cannot intervene in this.
How do we identify them?
We are trying to get the Gaza Strip its freedom, and we cannot get that freedom until the borders are opened up.
From the Israeli airstrikes that have been happening, 70% of the people that are killed are innocent Palestinian civilians, and only 1 in 30 people from the airstrikes are actually Hamas terrorists.
Hamas was elected by the people of Gaza. And this shows that maybe not all the people of Gaza hate Israel, but that some people of Gaza, to have voted Hamas to power, must have believed in that principle.
And I don't think it's fair to make that generalization.
Not allowing Gazans to leave the Gaza Strip means Israel is blatantly violating what the Universal Declaration of Human Rights exactly prohibits.
So just so the committee knows, 5 people are not satisfied with this agreement, 15 people are satisfied with this agreement, and 1 person is currently undecided.
It's only 2/3.
Hold on. The blockade on the Gaza Strip shall be partially lifted, allowing only materials providing basic humanitarian aid that cannot be made into weapons to be transported on the post-Khan Yunis Hebron highway.
So all delegates in favor of this Gaza agreement, please raise your placards now. Okay, so that part of the document has been finalized.
Maybe we should have another meeting between Israel and Palestine in a couple of years regarding if the tension has ceased, because there's really no way to determine if the tension is going to stop.
Anything can be renegotiated if situations change, because situations will be ever changing, and we do not want to be stuck with an agreement that only applies to the current situation.
Documents don't make sense. Part about the government buildings is in the old city when there are no government buildings. No, but then these can't be letters documents.
So we feel that at the Qatari Foreign Ministry that the negotiations have been extremely productive. Some of the resolutions that we have not completed yet, such as water and the right of return, everyone has been able to make an agreement that we mostly agree to. So therefore we are very happy about these negotiations and how peace may finally be achieved in the Israel and Palestine region.
The stated policy by the state of Israel is that Israel is a Jewish state and Jerusalem is its indivisible capital. And basically it boils down to a few monuments, and one of them being the place where theoretically the Prophet Muhammad ascended to the heavens.
Jerusalem's old city shall become international territory, and control over the new city shall be shared between the 2 states, Israel and Palestine. Access to all holy sites will be fully unrestricted to people of all nationalities and religions, including areas outside the international zone.
All those that agree with this section of the Jerusalem Agreement, please raise your placards now. So it is unanimous.
Is that we keep hiking the pressure water? You guys get
water is very important to both of our states, and I think it is only fair that the Jordan River be split.
We believe that actually instead of having the 39 months, it's until the wells and the desalination project is finished.
Currently, the water prices from Israel is currently inflated, and they're really extreme.
The state of Israel will make sure that the price of water does not increase during the process of the construction of the wells and desalination plants. And we would be open to the idea of decreasing the price of water, but by a much, much less amount than 30%, perhaps 5%.
During the construction of the desalination plant, the process of water being sold from Israel to Palestine will decrease by 10% in the first year, 7% in the second year, and 5% in the third year of construction.
Once we lift the IDF restrictions on these wells, 50 to 100 wells would be open for use by Palestinians. And this would enable you guys to support your people without us decreasing the price of water at all.
We will still need water from other sources, so I do not think that the wells will supply us with all of our needs.
We have more water than the Palestinian Authority. We have 2 times the population, 2 times the industry, and 5 times the agriculture.
All those in favor of the water agreement, please raise your pockets now. Water has been finalized.
The United States of America believes that there should be compensation provided for the Palestinians returning to Palestine. However, it should not come from Israel. It could come from Qatar or some other nation. No.
Israel will not pay compensation to the Palestinian Authority. We just will not. Thank you.
It's not anyone else's responsibility except yours.
They were Israeli citizens, and they got kicked out, and now they want to return to Israel, and you're not letting them return to Israel. Even if they are being persecuted, they're being chased down, they're under a threat of their own lives.
If a former Israeli citizen or resident has been forcefully kicked out of Israel, they have the right to return, Jewish or not. The Palestinian right of return is nothing less than a fundamental human right.
All those in favor of entering voting procedure, please raise your placards now. All opposed? Okay, we are now in voting procedure, delegates. Nicholas, how do you vote?
Yes.
Salma, how do you vote?
Yes.
State of Israel, Virginia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ryan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
John?
Yes.
Yes.
Say no.
Unanimously, this agreement for the Middle East peace process has been passed.
Yes.